All right, welcome to LongShots TV, sponsored by TrendBetting.com. Hey guys, welcome in. It's another Sunday fun day NFL show alongside Donnie right side. How you doing, Donnie, today?
Doing good. Sunday. Important day, obviously in the sports betting week, but one of our favorite days, along with Saturday. Action all day long. Couldn't be looking forward to a nice, profitable day, Tony.
All right, yeah, we all are. Okay, well, we're going to run down the games today, guys. Give you a little bit of information. Um, do want to note that we, uh, are looking forward to the injury report. We'll give you what we can, but the official one doesn't come out for about another 30 minutes, so we'll do our best for you. All right, let's run down the games. Donnie, Houston is at Minnesota. The Vikings are giving up 6 to 6.5 at home. Um, I like Minnesota here. I know a lot of people, when I looked this morning, were jumping on Houston with that basically a touchdown, dog. But they're on the road in a tough place, and I just think Minnesota's really the better team. I think that's one of those quiet teams that's just going to slowly dig in and win games. What do you think, Don?
Yeah, looking at the game overall, Minnesota is the better team. The only problem is major trouble for Minnesota in this game. Stephon Diggs is not going to play in this one. Minnesota already struggles to score. The line did drop from 6.5 to 6 momentarily in the past 10 minutes, and I agree with the line movement there. Do I think Minnesota wins the game? Yes, but they don't score enough. So if you can get that game, or maybe it spikes back up to 6.5, or I know Five Dimes has an alternate line of 7 in this one. I would take the points in this one just because the simple fact is Minnesota's going to struggle to score into the 20s, and if Houston can just hang around the game, I'm not sure if they can win it, but they can keep it close. A little bit too many points for Minnesota cover here, I believe.
All right. Okay, Tennessee at Miami. Miami -3, and Tennessee, struggling team, having a lot of issues, but I think they're starting to resolve some of those issues a little bit, but they're just not a great team, Donnie.
Yeah, Miami is a favorite is just one of those things that opens your eyes right away. The
Yep.
same thing I always say with the Baltimore Ravens, but the Baltimore Ravens at least win football games. They just never cover. I'm not even so sure that Miami can even win this football game. -3, -2.5 with Five Dimes. That just shows you that these two teams are even split, and they're just throwing the 3 points out there for the home team on Miami. Miami should win this game, yes, but I mean, you looked at it. They actually should have lost to the Cleveland Browns as double-digit favorites a couple weeks back.
Right.
A little bit healthier for Tennessee. They're going to Delaney Walker's going to be back, and Marcus Mariota will make enough plays with his feet. I just don't trust Ryan Tannehill, and also Arian Foster's going to be out for this one as well. Just give me the points in this game. I don't like either side particularly, Tony, but again, if Miami's going to be a favorite, I'm just going to go against it just to buck the trend.
All right. Yeah, and I'm actually liking Tennessee in this game to cover that. I think they get the win here outright, just to, stir things up a bit. I think they're going to be playing a little bit motivated today. Okay, New England at Cleveland. This is the one everybody's waiting for. Mr. Brady is back. How can you go wrong with picking Tom Brady, Donnie?
Well, I don't like the spot that New England is in here. If you're looking, 80% of the money or 80% of the tickets is coming in as we look on New England itself. Line opened up at 10.5. The line is still 10.5. That's a major red flag right there. Julian Edelman is banged up. Gronkowski's on one leg. Tom Brady hasn't even been at the facility for a month. He's been tanning and vacationing in Italy. I know he's rested and ready, but this isn't 29-year-old Tom Brady. I mean, this is Tom Brady into his 40s. I don't really know which way to go. It's a hard game to cap, and I know the public just sees, oh, my God, Brady's back. He's going to be angry. He's going to destroy it. He's not at home. He's on the road. It's always tough in the NFL to lay double digits and win. A quarterback who hasn't thrown a single pass with his football team in over 5.5 weeks. Running back situation with Blunt, he's banged up a little bit. I know New England should win this football game and probably will because it's Cleveland, but there's no way I'm laying over 10 points with a rusty Tom Brady and an injured New England team.
I agree with you there, Donnie, and I think Cleveland historically does play New England fairly close at home. So, yeah, I think that's an easy one, in my opinion, to jump on those points.
I mean, if you look at Cleveland, the one thing that you can say is they don't have very much talent, and of course they've been injured quite a bit. Hugh Jackson has the team pointed in the right direction with the mindset, not actually winning football games. Because if you look at their games, game to game, obviously in Washington they did get beat and they lost the spread in that game. But there was a couple key fumbles in that when they were in it right to the end. Same thing with the Miami game. The Eagles gave it to them a little bit, but just line by line, they played Baltimore. They should have beat Baltimore, and they're a little bit better team at home. So again, I'm going to lean towards the Cleveland Browns in this one. They've been on the road 3 out of their 4 games, so they're coming back home. And again, as I said, they were up, I believe, 20-0 at Baltimore, and they should have actually won that game outright, but they did cover the line. So we'll see what happens, but there's no way I would be laying over 10 points on the road with an NFL team.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's jump down to. I screwed my order up here a little bit, so I got to. Washington at Baltimore. We're just talking about Cleveland putting up 20 on Baltimore. Baltimore is at home. Line's 3.5, and looks to me like a lot of the money is on Washington for this one, Donnie.
But it looks like the line's moving. It's back up to 4, and again, I'm just a fader of Baltimore. Baltimore wins. Baltimore's a great team at home, but Baltimore doesn't cover versus anybody. If the line was 14.5, they would win by 14. If the line was 1.5, they'll win by 1. It's just the way Baltimore does it. It seems like every single game with Baltimore comes right down to that final possession. I don't technically like the game so much, but again, if I'm just going to, there's not really any travel. What are they, 20 miles apart maximum? Right. So, they're not going to be out of their element. They're not going to be starting a West Coast game or playing in London, whatever it is. They're right next door. It's going to be a bit of bad weather down there, so I do think the game is going to be a little bit closer than what the experts think. I would take Washington with the points if you're getting 4 here.
All right. So that also looks like maybe a low-scoring game as well.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, again, you're going to throw in a little bit of – I don't know how much it's going to rain there. It's pouring here in New Jersey. It's been doing that for the past day and a half, so I expect a little bit of the same down there.
All right. Yeah, definitely keep an eye on the weather today, guys. All right, let's look at Chicago Bears at the Colts. Colts getting 4.5 at home. Boy, I don't know. I don't know what to think about either one of these teams, Donnie. They're just right now. They're both a mess. Andrew Luck is beat up. He's just not getting the protection from the line, and Chicago obviously just the only thing they got going for him right now is Alshon Jeffrey. No consistency at the quarterback position, so you never know what you're going to get. I mean, he's always going to get his catches and probably a touchdown in the game, but man, these guys are messed up.
Yeah, I think Chicago, they don't have very much, but then again, if you're looking at Indianapolis, they're banged up, beat up, and they're a soft football team. So, I mean, them laying over a field goal anywhere, they technically don't deserve it. I don't see any way that Indianapolis blows out Chicago. If you're looking at the game, you're just going to pick it straight up. Of course, you would lean Indianapolis since they're the home team. The Chicago Bears are a little bit, obviously dinged up and not that talented. Eddie Royal looks like he's probably going to miss this game. As you know, White is already out for Chicago. That leaves just Alshon Jeffrey and the tight end. So they're going to probably play a ground and pound game, which, again, isn't a bad thing against Indianapolis because they don't stop anybody with that softer type catch defense as opposed to attacking defense. Right. So I would look, as hard as it is to back Chicago, the 4.5 number just sticks out to me. I would just take the points and see what happens here.
Right. All right. I agree with you there, too. All right. Philly at Detroit. Philadelphia's been showing up and playing some good football. They've played a couple of, lesser teams, but they've been showing up and making plays consistent, and their defense is pretty solid. I can't see Detroit holding them off. They're only getting 3.5. Most of the money is on Philadelphia. I know your Eagles, Donnie, have been rolling, and you know this team better than anybody. What do you think happens over here at Ford Field?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because they're still a young team, obviously with a rookie quarterback. They played extremely well heading into the bye. 3 blowout victories, including my pick for the Super Bowl in the AFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who you saw bounce back last Sunday night as they demolished the Kansas City Chiefs. So that was a huge win and an easy win. As we talked before, that could have been a 50-point spread if the Eagles wanted it to. That's how much of a lopsided game it was. Right. This is a tough game to cap, and usually I would be directly on the Eagles, which I might end up on the Eagles, depending on what type of line this ends up. 3.5 and 3 is a kind of big deal. But you always want to be leery about a rookie going on the road. I know they went to Chicago on a Monday night and they demolished the Bears, beat them up pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's one of those games where you're still looking as a wait and see with the Eagles, because how do they handle coming off the bye? Now, Peterson is an Andy Reid disciple, and the Eagles were dominant off the bye week. So hopefully he took that same sort of game plan, same sort of practice time, and applied it here with the Philadelphia Eagles. But as I say, Matt Stafford's a decent quarterback. Last year, the Eagles went to Detroit and got really banged up in that one on Thanksgiving Day. Pretty much got Chip Kelly fired. The one thing I do want to caution with is that Detroit is playing with a half deck on defense, and the Eagles are absolutely 100% healthy. Zach Ertz is coming back. He's, I think,
up some big points on this Jets team. But as I look at this thing, this seems to me like maybe one of those letdown situations for Pittsburgh, Donnie.
I don't know if it's a letdown situation, but again, that's a lot of points. And I know it's a public knee-jerk reaction. They saw the Steelers annihilate the Kansas City Chiefs last Sunday night, and you saw the Jets struggle at home against the Seattle Seahawks. But make no mistake about it, Pittsburgh defense is not the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I know Ryan Fitzpatrick has been struggling. I know they're banged up, not having one of their top wide receivers in this game, but you're still going to have Brandon Marshall. Right. Owansa looks like he's going to play as well. And again, the Jets should be able to move the football in this game. The one thing that the Jets do very well is rush the passer. The one thing that Pittsburgh is struggling with a lot of injuries is on their offensive line. So that's going to be a win for the Jets. The only thing that I question here is who's going to guard any of the wide receivers. Darrelle Revis is out. It's not even saying Darrelle Revis has even been a very good cornerback this year. He's been, quite frankly, below average. But if they can just hold off the pass rush of the Jets, you just have to feel like the Steelers are just going to pick them apart and do whatever they want. But me as the contrarian better in the NFL, give me the 10 points with the Jets. It's a lot of points in the NFL, Tony.
It is. It's a lot of points. It's like I said, it's just one of those that's really tough, and you dare not go against Pittsburgh at home, I think. So
hard, I know. It's really hard to do. Yep.
All right, let's jump down to the 4:05 game. I don't have a lot of information on this. I don't think there's a lot of bets placed on this game. Atlanta at Denver. Okay, Denver Broncos, tough defense. Atlanta is, Fitzpatrick and the boys are pretty healthy. They're putting up some points. They're getting into a groove, I think. If I had to lean one way, Donnie, I think that maybe this is the spot that Denver gets beat.
I'm not. You would say they have a chance just because of the fact that Paxton Lynch is going to be in, Trevor Siemian is out for this game. But the one thing that's always tough in the NFL, dome team going outdoors, and especially going outdoors and going into altitude, that defense is going to be raring to go. The one thing Atlanta does extremely well is they pass the football. The one thing that the Denver Broncos do extremely well, they have the best trio of cornerbacks in the NFL. If you can take Julio Jones out of the equation, that's going to leave Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman in the backfield to try to do most of the heavy work. Right. And Denver can stop the run also. It's a very good defense. That line has dropped like a rock from 6 to 3.5 just on the quarterback news. That is a good sign for the Atlanta Falcons. I see a lower scoring game in this one, but I just can't go against Denver at home against a dome team. Atlanta is technically a softer type team. C.J. Anderson's going to be on the ground. I think Denver's going to get it done with under 7 points, but I think they can cover that 3.5 here.
All right. Interesting. Let's jump down to Cincinnati at Dallas. This I know is going to be a game a lot of people are going to watch, including myself. Over 75% of the money is on the Bengals to beat Dallas, Donnie.
Yeah, I agree with them in this situation. And again, being an Eagles fan, I'm actually really hoping that it does happen. But if you have to take a look at this on a dollar and cents line, Dallas has been playing very good football. Tyron Smith is going to be back at left tackle. That's going to be a big improvement. Eifert is still out for the Cincinnati Bengals. Jeremy Hill, who was banged up, did practice later in the week. He's going to play. Giovanni Bernard also going to play. And A.J. Green's one of the best wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver, right next to Julio Jones and Antonio Brown in the NFL. It's going to be an interesting dichotomy, a tough type of matchup to gauge. I just think Cincinnati needs this game a little bit more than Dallas does. I think they're a little bit more talented, but you can't let, when you have a great offensive line, Tony, a very good running game. I know they have a rookie quarterback. Dez is going to be out. They're going to try to control the line of scrimmage, but I think Andy Dalton and Cincinnati is going to make just enough plays to win this game. Look for a lower scoring battle just because both teams are going to try to establish the run and play it a little bit closer to the vest. But I think that Cincinnati can pull this one out, probably in a 4 to 7 point win. Maybe even a little bit closer, but again, you don't need that close in Cincinnati. The most they're laying across the board is 2.5. A 3 actually just popped up, but anything below 3, I think Cincinnati's the right play here, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually, as far as the Dez Bryant injury, from what I'm seeing, Dez is still listed as questionable. And
yeah, he's out. Yeah, he's not.
He's out.
Today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that tells you a lot right there. Okay, San Diego at Oakland. Okay, the Chargers against the Raiders. Most of the money right now is on San Diego. The line is 3.5 is what I'm showing, and I think this is one of those situations that is perfect to go against the public.
You're looking at San Diego, probably the most banged up team in the NFL. They're going to get Joey Bosa finally on the field today, but they lost their best starting quarterback last week, Jason Verrett, who's now out for the year. Yep. Antonio Gates also is going to come back, but as you know, the struggles that San Diego does have at wide receiver. Travis Benjamin's going to be the A1A target in this one. It's interesting. The Chargers have led with 2 minutes to go in each and every one of their games. When they had the lead in the last 2 minutes, obviously outside of the game they did win. They lost 3 of those games, which is amazing. They should be 4-0 in this one.
Yeah.
Big injury information on the Oakland Raiders. Latavius Murray's not going to be in this ball game.
Right.
But the simple fact is I don't know how much that's going to matter because I think David Carr is going to take to the air with a weaker defense out there for the Chargers. But you can't ever leave Phillip Rivers, out to dry. And if you're going to give them 3.5 points, they're going to be in this game. Yeah. The Raiders aren't going to run away from this one, even though they are at home and the better team, less banged up. I just see the Chargers covering that 3.5. I don't know if they can win, but if it's a 10-point game, 7-point game, and Phillip Rivers has the football with a minute to go, they're probably going to do something with it.
Yeah, I in my opinion, see the Raiders actually covering the line in this particular situation, being at home, and this is one of their rival matchups. So look for them to, in my opinion, actually cover that a little bit. Mm-hmm. All right. Buffalo at Los Angeles Rams. I still can't get over saying that.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to take a while until you see them on national TV a little bit more, so it actually sinks in. You're right.
Yep. Okay, so we're looking at what's the line here? 2.5.
Yeah, Buffalo's favored here. Yep.
Heavy money on Buffalo. Boy, it's a tough one to call here, Donnie. You got several key players out for this game. Salas is out. Corey White's out. One of their cornerbacks on defense. So can the Rams win at home?
Well, it's a red flag line right away. Buffalo's on the road and is a minus points in this one. Marcel Darius is upgraded to probable today. I don't actually think he's going to play. I believe a tweet came out earlier from Adam Schefter that said he's dealing with a hamstring injury, so they're not going to get that big D tackle back in this one. Chantrell Henderson, the starting offensive tackle, is going to be back here. LaShawn McCoy later in the week did bang up his hand in practice, but he will play. But the one thing you got to look at in this game is you say, Los Angeles is 3-1 and playing really good football and getting points at home. That's an immediate red flag. That's a stone cold Bills line right there. I don't necessarily like the game, but just the way the line looks, Vegas is right more than they're wrong. I lean towards the Buffalo Bills covering this one, and it's an odd spread to me.
Yeah, it looks completely weird, and like I said, 78% of the money is on Buffalo here. So somebody's got a good line on this, and I know looking around on the internet, most of the cappers are actually on Buffalo as well. I did see one arbitrary view when I was looking around, but that was the only one, Donnie.
Yeah, it's an interesting game when you take a look at it on its head, but you're going to have to wait maybe for some of the injury reports to come out because I know Robert Quinn looks like he was dinged up as well, just to see who's going to go in this game. And how about that injury with LaShawn McCoy on his hand? Is that going to, wear and tear on the carrying the football late in the game or be able to fumble that ball? So it'll be interesting to see how he warms up and some of the feedback that you'll get back on that one.
Right on. Okay, 8:30 game, Giants at Green Bay. This is going to be a great game, I think. I think that Eli should be a little bit more on track tonight. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers and the boys. Let's see who. Jared Cook's out and Samuel Shields out. Everything else is still looking questionable. I don't see any key injuries there that could affect Green Bay. And Green Bay, it's tough at home, so they're getting 7 right now. 67% of the money on Green Bay. Boy, I'd have to take Green Bay at home here over Eli.
I agree with that one. There's one devastating thing in professional sports, and that's a rested Green Bay team at home.
Yep.
They jump on teams right away at home, and especially off a bye. I look for more of the same here. The one player that I do think is going to have a really good football game is Odell Beckham. I think he's going to bounce back. You saw him last week going against maybe the top team or one of the top 2-3 teams in the NFL on defense, and a great cornerback and Xavier Rhodes guard him and pretty much shut him down and get under his skin. But in this one, they don't really have. Sam Shields is their best cornerback. He's been out 4 to 5 weeks and probably a little bit longer with that concussion history he has. The one thing that Green Bay is getting back is Clay Matthews, so you have a pass rush. And, if you put a little bit of pressure on Eli, he's just going to throw the ball up for grabs. But I do think Odell Beckham is going to get his fair share of plays in this one. But I look for Green Bay to be up 14 points at the half, and I don't think the Giants can come back and win on the road with a rested Green Bay team here. So I look to see Green Bay winning this game by 10 or more points. The only thing that's going to be interesting in this one is if that game is 10 points late, Eli is either going to be boom or bust in this one. He's going to be throwing it deep. He's going to be moving the football down the field. And you have a great junk wide receiver core with Shepard and Odell Beckham who can cover that line. If it's 10, they can certainly make it 3. But I think Green Bay, as long as you get 7, is a comfortable play here.
Yeah, MCD 173 says, I have 7.5. Do I stay... take it?
No, you wait on that all day long. Because if it goes to 8 or 9, Green Bay is going to run. If it moves back to 7, you'll be all right. I wouldn't take that now at all, no.
All right. Thanks for the question, and hopefully we give you the right answer on that one. Donnie's a pretty sharp guy, much sharper than I am. I'm more of an analyst by the numbers guy, and Donnie, he's more of a dig in the trenches, finding out those little tweaks and bumps, and really waits on the information and gets it done. He's not an emotional type capper, so that's a very good thing. I tend to be a little emotional, especially when they're playing the Lions or my Browns.
I'm only emotional when money's on the line, Tony.
Well, there you go. All right, that says it all. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Monday night game. Tampa Bay going into Carolina. This, to me, Donnie, sets up as probably the best Monday night game that we've had so far this year. Jameis Winston going in against Cam. Now, is Cam still banged up and going to be out?
Yeah, he's out. So, this game, you say it's going to be one of the best. I say it's going to be one of the worst. The laundry list of injuries in this one is unbelievable. I'm not sure if a single starter on the defensive line is going to play this week for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you look flip side on Carolina, Derek Anderson's going to be a starting quarterback in this one, still without their lead running back, who is also out for this game, Jonathan Stewart. Thomas Davis on the questionable injury list. So it's almost a matter of who do you even know is even playing in this football game. And
I think that's by design, Donnie.
It's just, just start flipping coins up in the air. But a division rivalry game, it's a shame that you don't even really know who's even going to be in. Both starting running backs are out for Tampa Bay. So you might even look to have like a triple option on both sides of the football in this one. So I don't have any feel for this game. I know it's a 4.5-point line. Just give me the 5 in this game. If you're without your starting quarterback in the NFL, I'm just going to take the points against you if you are laying every day of the week.
Right. In my opinion, I think this is going to be a wild game, and I think some of those, when the final injury report comes out on that game, I think you're going to be surprised at some of the guys that are actually going to play in this game. I think there's a little cat and mouse going on between this one, Donnie, and I know Tampa Bay really, really wants to go in and get that win over the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, the one thing that they are going to have is, Jameis Winston and their wide receiver. Other than that, it's such an interesting thing because Tampa Bay is a bad defense as it is, and the strength of their football team is the defensive line. You already have, Devontae Bond's going to be out for this one. Jaquez Smith, who's been out for a couple weeks already. George Johnson has been out since the summer. Jared McCoy's not going to play in this game, and neither is Noah Spence. I don't know if I've ever seen in a week and a half to 2 week period where you lost every single starter you had on the defensive line. Really an interesting game.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to it. All right. Any wrap up comments on any of the games, Donnie?
No, if I was going to give out a free play or wager on a game, I haven't put anything in yet because I always do wait till the inactive list, both at 1 o'clock and at 4 o'clock. But taking the Green Bay Packers tonight in the first half, you're probably going to get -4 in that game. Look for the Packers to be up 7 points at the half, and you'll be able to cash that ticket in.
All right, there you heard it. Good call on that one, Donnie, and I'm sure hopefully our viewers will be thanking you after the game. I'm sure they will. Okay, well, guys, we did a quick rundown for the NFL games today. We hope you enjoy the games. Make sure and visit Donnie over at DonnieRightside.com. You can message us here at LongShots TV on Twitter and also on the chat board. We love it when people have questions. Shoot us your questions during the show. We'll try and do our best to answer them, give you some good information on it. Donnie's one of the best analysts we have. Don't forget tomorrow night, Monday night, 8 o'clock, we're going to have CJ the Razor on, and we're going to talk postseason baseball. That's going to be an exciting show. I'm looking forward to it. There's been some great games happened already. CJ's going to run those down and give us some good inside information on who he thinks might be playing head-to-head and against each other in the World Series. So that'll be a lot of fun. Donnie, it's been a pleasure as always. And
Yes.
Make sure you guys get over to DonnieRightside.com, see Donnie, and you can see him also on TrendBetting.com. You can see me, Tony the Rhino, on TrendBetting.com. You can message us here on the on the Twitch chat or on Facebook if you'd like at the or at the LongShots TV page. So, been a great show, Donnie. Any parting thoughts?
No, let's watch some football. Let's win some money and go Eagles.
All right, that's been the show. Thanks for watching LongShots TV, guys, and have a good one.
Absolutely.
Even get to